I'm gonna introduce to some and reintroduce to others. Um, Mr. Will Hooper, what's going on, man?
What's up, bro?
How you doing?
How you doing,
What's
man?
up with the brother, man?
What's up?
How you doing?
I'm cool, man.
It's a beautiful thing, huh?
Yes, it is, man. Good to see you,
We
man.
could be here smiling, you know what I'm saying? Just feeling every bit of a whole nother type of joy in life. Because joy, I know, I was thinking about that too, like how joy just has a different meaning, you know what I'm saying, today. You know what I'm saying? I used to be joyful just to link up, you know what I'm saying, with you or other homies to kind of get the day going. And, you know, we had a certain type of feeling, a certain type of vibe, a certain type of spirit kind of like, you know, pushing and pulling us. And it felt like joy, but now I know that like joy is something else.
Yeah, that was a real joy, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the real joy right here. We out. You know what I mean? Yeah.
How you feeling though? What's new? What's new with you today? In the present, how's your day going today so far?
Today, it's going pretty good. I took my son to his basketball game. A normal day, you know. Knew I was gonna meet up with you, so I was excited about that. That's about it. After this, I'm gonna go hit the park with my son, with all three of my
You got
sons.
three of them. Three
Yeah, I got
sons.
3 of them. And you know, just and be the best dad I could be.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, man.
How was that for you, fatherhood? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know, let's just go ahead and get into, you know, I would like to dive into like how you feel as a father. Let's just go there. How you feel as a father today?
Man, I feel good, man. Never thought was gonna be a father, so you know it's a blessing every day to see the many use.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel good, man.
What's the key for you? You know what I'm saying? Because obviously you a boy. I mean, you a man now, but you was once a boy. You know what I'm
Correct.
saying? You was raised. You had your upbringing. What's one of the things that is just key to you every day to kind of lock in with your sons, as far as you establishing, you know, their identity?
Being in their lives every day. That's my main thing. You know, I haven't missed not one day with neither one of them. You know what I mean? So I'm blessed and I'm thankful for that. Discipline, staying on them. You know, I didn't have that like I am with them.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have that. So that's one of my main things. Discipline and just being there for them. You know, that's it, man. Other than that, yeah, just being there for them.
Share with us, if you don't mind, some context to like your story, like how it started. You know, where you was born. You know, where you was raised, who you was raised by, and you know how you. And we'll just navigate to how, you know, we ended up sitting across from each other today.
Okay, well, I'm from Oceanside, California. Uh, born and raised, Tri-City Hospital, 1981, February 11th. Um, it was me and my mom, my dad, and then along came my little brother. Uh, and we from Oceanside, man. We've been living here all our life. My second home is Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
I lived out there. I went to school out there.
You got a lot of family out there?
I do. Majority of my mom's side, the family is out
What
there.
part of Arkansas?
Stuttgart.
Stuttgart.
Yeah, and then Jacksonville too. We lived in Jacksonville. Went to school in Jacksonville. You know, so it was back and forth from Oceanside to out there when we was younger. When me and my younger brother, you know.
Or did you primarily? What do you remember your first the first 5 years? You know, 5 years of your life. You might not be able to remember
Meaning
up
like,
to 5, but like as far as where you grew up at, like, you know what I'm saying, like.
I mean, our primary was out here in Oceanside.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, you know, when we was like, when I say 4, 5, 6, that's when we was going back 7th and the 8th, back and forth from Arkansas to Oceanside. At about, like 9, we stayed from here on out. You know what I mean? Until I became an adult.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, about 9, 10, Yeah. And we lived in the valley, man. We grew up. Um, it's called North Valley of Oceanside. That's what
Yeah.
it's called,
Yeah.
and that's where we grew up at. Well, that's where I grew up at. My dad was a military. He was an MP. He was in the military for 23 years. Um, we had a we had a house down there. Me, my mom, my little brother, um, and then fast forward things. They got a divorce. When they got a divorce, everything went left field.
Shifted.
Yeah, everything went left field. Um, Pops wasn't there no more.
What age is this for you?
This was like I could say when they got a divorce was like I was like 12.
How did that affect you, like at 12 at that point? Because 12 is a critical age.
It
bro.
is, you know what I mean? No more. Well, it affected me because of the discipline. It was gone, and we was
Was he
running
always on you? Was he?
on me and my little
And
brother.
he was an MP too, so.
You know what I mean? So you know how the Marines was back then, you know.
Yeah.
So it hurt me, man. It hurt me. You know what I mean? The discipline was gone. We was running over my mom, man. We was, you know, started just doing what we want to do, and you know, bless her heart, she was trying her hardest to keep me straight, get us right, and but it didn't work. It didn't work at all. That outside influence really influenced me, and just took over. You know what I'm saying?
How? What would you say? Did it happen within that same? Within how much span of time would you say the outside influence became like predominant as far as like pulling you?
I would say almost immediately, man. Almost immediately. I remember getting jumped into the gang at the age of 13. And that was like 93, 94. So it took effect immediately, you know what I mean? And like I said, that outside just influenced me, and now just this is what I want to be. This is what I want to do. You know, I had it all figured out. I knew it all, you know? But, yeah.
Talk about, if you don't mind, just if you can remember or think back, like the mindset to just choosing, like to get put on. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, what was in the back of you? Was there anything telling you, nah? You know what I'm saying? And if so, like how did you convince yourself to say yeah?
It wasn't nothing telling me nah. Everything was telling me yeah. And it was because of the outside influence of the people I was hanging around. So, and this was a everyday thing. Was like a, you know, a hobby. Was something
It's like going to football practice or something.
that we did every
Yeah.
single day. You know what I mean? Hung out with each other. That's what we did. Hung out with each other every single day, whether if it was on some positive or negative. We did every single day. So I was more attached to the people I was hanging out with, and I wanted to do everything they was doing. I wanted to be a part of everything they was a part of. So that's what really just made me go, yeah, this is what I want to do. They're doing it. I want to do it. You know what I mean? So yeah, man.
What would you say? What would you say was the main influence within the influences? You know what I'm saying? So you have your peers, you have the neighborhood, you have, especially in our neighborhood, like there was a racial dynamic. But I think for a lot of us it's different. You know what I'm saying? Like what actually is the main influencer that actually like has a hold on you? For some individuals it was Crip. For some individuals it was like, man, we all black. For some individuals it was like, you know, a main friend. You know what I'm saying? That was the influencer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I would say I had one of my main influences was Jerome.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, man. I love him to death. Shout out to Jerome
Yeah,
too, man.
yeah. Shout out to
Um, he was Ernie,
him.
Ivan, and these is guys people don't know that we grew up with.
Yeah.
That's in our age. You know what I mean? 93, 94, them days. Them people, every single day.
Every
They
day.
live. We all lived in that neighborhood. It wasn't like nobody came and caught the bus over there or come from here, come from there. We all lived there. We all went to school together. So, like I said, it was just more I wanted to be with these guys, do what they doing. I was a kid, didn't know no better. Just really, like I said, the discipline was gone, so I didn't have nobody saying, "What? No, what are you doing?" Pulling me, saying, "No, you think you should think about it." I didn't have none of that at all. So, yeah.
What was the main, if you could remember, the main thing that echoes to you today that your mom was saying at that time, whether she knew what you was doing or not, like really knew what you was doing, but that you can look back now and be like, I remember, man, like mom saying this.
People used to tell her when I got involved with the gangs. People used to tell her, "Your son out there doing this, your son out there doing that," and she wouldn't believe it at all. You couldn't make her believe the things that she was hearing that I was doing that. So, um, I just remember her telling me like, stop being a follower. Stop being a follower. These are not your friends. Not all of them. Because, I had that bad. Mom, this is my friend. Quit calling everybody your friend because they're not. And I took it as she didn't know because you're a church woman. You don't know. I'm in the gang. I'm in the streets. You don't know what you're talking about. But she did. And she knew. You know what I mean? Nobody's perfect. You know what I mean? She wasn't a church woman all her life, but, So, and she seen right through all that. And she used to tell me that, man. That's one of them things I do remember. Stop being a follower. You're, yeah. Stop being a follower and quit calling everybody your friend because they're not.
That's crazy, man. I think, it's crazy you mentioned those two things because those are the two things I think in today's life as grown men, like that'll save your life as a grown man.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
because not everybody that say they're your friend is your friend.
They're not, man. We had to learn the hard way. I definitely did. I'm a loyal person. I love hard, and I had to learn the hard way with that one too, big time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had to be betrayed and to show me like this is what it is.
Right.
You know what I mean? For me to actually get the picture. Yeah, it's real.
If you could say, we'll say going back to like 8, 9, were you ever interested in playing sports, or did you have any dreams to like be anything? Like, did your pops influence you in any way to, potentially maybe be in the military one day?
And that's what I'm upset about. That I wish that he would have, but he didn't. And for the record, I wasn't just a game banger. I mean, growing up, I played sports. I played basketball, football, ran track. We boxed. You know what I mean? Down in Oceanside, downtown, in 91. We had the boxing team. I was on the boxing team. I danced. I was in a dance group called Friends
Juneteenth.
Forever.
Didn't you perform at the
At the
Juneteenth a few times?
Juneteenth one time. That was, 89, 90. Them was the years, you know what I mean? Skateboard, rode bikes. I did all that, like I said. But as those years passed, and I did that, and as those years passed, what my mom and dad was going through, it affected me because he's no longer in the house. So all these things that I did do just went out the window because, like I said, these people that I'm hanging out with, running with, they're now the influencers. They're now my big brothers. They're now kind of low key like my dad because this is who I want to be around with. This is who I'm influenced. This is who I'm listening to. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
How close are you and your brother?
Which one? I have three.
So you have three. So I will start with your younger brother.
Me and my younger brother are the closest.
Mhm.
My two older brothers, they're not. They have the same dad, and then me and my younger brother had the same dad. But yeah, me and my younger brother close, real close. You know?
At the because how far are y'all apart?
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
So at some point was there any like looking back, you know what I'm saying, to see what he was doing, you know what I'm saying, as you were kind of like taking off into a specific lifestyle and specific way of living? Was there anything that you were kind of looking back and saying to him?
One thing, I was overprotected about my little brother, so immediately when I got involved with the gang, I knew for sure, like, with him, you're not finna be a part of this. You know what I mean? At all. So I was overprotected about little bro. And the good thing is, from whatever he seen, he didn't want to be involved anyway.
Yeah.
He was cool. You know what I mean? So that's what I was happy about. He had his own little friends, and they did their little dirt, but it wasn't nothing major. You know what I mean? None of them claimed anything. So yeah. That other than that, that's what
what was the main thing that made you like, nah, man, you not, you know, don't even think about sliding this way?
Because how the homies was. Not real homies. And I fear for them getting beat up real bad and I'm not there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I feared. You know what I mean? Big time. By homies.
Yeah, because that took place a lot.
It did.
Yeah.
In houses, and nobody stopped it.
Hey, I be thinking about that sometimes, man. Like, bro, we used to get, by a certain generation ahead of us, we used to get like terrorized. I think that's why we ended up becoming the way we was.
Yeah. It's because of the older generation that we looked up to.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those guys was riders. You know what I mean? Yeah, and they was on us,
Mm-hmm.
and it was real back then.
Right.
Honestly, it was the gang banging and being a crib and all that was real.
Right.
In 91, 92,
Yeah, from 90 to 2000, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, you know what I
I'm
mean?
not gonna say, yeah, you know, between 2000 and 2010, it was as well, but you can already tell, man, whatever they were starting to put in the water, you know what I'm saying? It was just, it was diluting everything, and everything was starting to change.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, we used to get terrorized. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember, and I think that's what made me not really, because, you know, growing up in the Valley, you know, Samoans is big, Hispanics, it's a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of us, though. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of us. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you know, so like numbers was never really a problem. But I think for some of us who had a certain, because I was a timid individual. I wasn't always who I became. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to work to become who I became.
Yeah.
And had to go through a lot of timidness and fear and all of that stuff.
I think we both did. All of us did. You know, when you're not just all of a sudden just this hardcore dude or
Right.
this, you know what I mean? You're going to go through your trials and tribulations and to become that person you're
Right.
trying to become.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, you know, at a certain point in your life, you realize, like, wait a minute, I'm tripping.
Right.
This is not what it's about. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, that's what I feared, especially for little bro. I know how to, you know how they is, you know what I mean?
That's Jerome told me. He was like, bro, he begged me not to get put on. He was just like, for that reason.
Because I
He
know,
was just
you know what I mean? And we witnessed it too
mm-hmm.
many times. And he took heed to that. And he seen how serious I was, like, no. And he didn't. So that's, I mean, salute to my little bro, man. He you know what I mean? He's, I'm cool on the game.
Mm-hmm.
And to this day, he don't fuck around with gang members
Right.
and none of that. He ain't into that. You know what I mean? At all. You know what I mean? He box, do his job, take care of his daughter. You know what I mean?
That's good.
Excited that his big bro is out.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't talking to
Doing
me
it
over the
good.
phone,
Right.
or I'm not dead. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
The transition there. When is the first time you ended up seeing the inside of a facility? You know what I'm saying, for being arrested for something.
At the age of 14, I called my first case. It was 10 of us for Grand Theft Auto.
It was 10.
It was 10 of us. We was deep. You remember how
And y'all all got caught,
all of
and
us
all went to the hall.
all went to the halls? It was 10 of us.
Sheesh.
We got 2 minivans, and then we all went to San Diego, and did our stuff out there, doing runouts and stuff like that. And I never forget, one of the vans brakes went out in front of the police. Like, we was at a 7-Eleven, and I remember we was at a 7-Eleven. Everybody was inside the 7-Eleven when we was lit. We finna leave out.
Oh man.
And the homies got in this van. I remember, and they backed out, and the brakes went out.
Bro.
They smacked the car that was parked, right? They smacked the car. They all jump out. They jump in our van. We back up. Get on. Like I said, the police at the light. They behind us. We on a high-speed chase for a minute. Boom, everybody jump out. We eventually all get caught. We all in the halls. I remember, I was like 14 years old. It was 10, all 10 of us got caught. And then from there, it was in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. From catching that case at 14 until, honestly, bro, 30. To the age of 30, I've been in and out.
Was 30 years old the year you was released, or the last time you caught a case?
Last time I caught a case. So I mean, 14, in and out. 15, in and out, in and out, in and out. All my life. Just, I grew up in the system. You know what I mean? Juvenile hall, Campo twice, Arizona Boys Ranch, to the county jail, to state prison. That's been my life. I'm tired, man. I ain't gonna lie. All that time, and it's all been for the gang, man. And I think about it now, and I gave a lot of time, a lot of dedication and loyalty for nothing. They say things happen for a reason. You know what I mean? I look back now, I'm like, man, you did all.
What do you think people mean when they say that? Man, things happen for a reason, or like how did you used to actually apply that before you started saying like what does that even really mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I said I be honest with you, I'm like, things happen for a reason. Like, no, was it meant for me to go to, was it meant for, I don't think that was part of God's plan for me to go to prison. I think that was just my own wrongdoing down here, and now I'm trying to use this excuse as things happen for a reason. Nah, that was your own wrongdoing, and you just had to pay for it. So
And that's
I
why
think that's just a saying.
Right. Yeah.
That people just says, honestly.
It brings like more, I think, validity too to holding ourselves accountable. Like like you just said. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, it's a lot of, because when you in it and you go through what you have to go through to stay, you know what I'm saying? Like, to stay in it and to stay, as you were sharing, loyal and someone that people can count on, you really you giving a lot of yourself in ways that you don't even really understand between the ages of 15 and 30.
At all.
You know what I'm saying? And so to say, everything happens for a reason. It's like, I think when you say that, you have to be able to identify what the reason is. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you're saying everything happens for a reason. Well, what's the reason then?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what is you telling me the reason is? Other than that, it's like I need to hold myself accountable for the things I did. You know what I'm saying? And the people I hurt. You know what I'm saying?
No, you're right.
And the things I didn't do. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But do you remember what it was like the first time you felt like, because I think we all have a moment where we be like, man, what am I doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, for some of us, it's earlier in age. For some of us, it's fighting a life sentence. For some of us, it's later. You know what I'm saying? But
honestly, my last bid at Calipatria, we had to go and feed the lifers from the 1 yard because the 4 yard was locked down. So I was just looking at the yard, like talking to myself, like, "This what you want for the rest of your life?"
bro, them is some conversations too that you can only have with yourself.
Yeah,
because people will say that and ask you, "Is this what you really want to do with your life?" But when you start asking yourself that,
yeah,
you hear it different.
And like I said, I was just looking at the yard, like, this is it, forever, for the gang.
And you're on your way to go feed lifers.
Forever for the gang. You hear me? That's what you want, Timmy? You know, talking to myself. That's what you want? Like, nah, it's over. You know what I mean? It's over. You. I just started realizing too, Timothy. Like, man, you like one of the main ones that's always going, doing. For what? Let them do and let them go. You know? But that was that loyalty and that, like you said, being one of the persons that you can count on. You know what I'm saying? And now it's just like, once I got to realize, like, you don't got to do all that. You didn't have to, but you did. But it's time to shut that down. It's over with. It's time to do something different with your life. You know?
Yeah.
And after that, after Calipat, it was a wrap. When I paroled from Calipat, I didn't go back.
And so that was at age 30?
That was like age 30, and I've been on the streets ever since. I've been out of prison for like 13 years. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up.
Yeah, and you know that I pat myself on the back for
you
that.
have
You
to.
know what I mean? For real, because like I said, from the age of 14 until in and out, and I never got to, you know, I didn't get to do a lot of stuff as a kid as I was supposed to do, because I chose the gangbanging route. You know what I mean? So but I'm happy I changed my life now, man. I'm no longer gang banging. You know what I mean? I'm a father of 5,
Father of 5.
4, and 1 on the way.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Y'all already know what it is?
A girl.
A girl.
Yeah, she's happy. She's happy.
Oh, she is
Yeah, because she got
happy.
4 boys. So she having a girl. She's happy about that.
That's good. Congratulations,
Yeah,
man.
thank you.
Yeah,
Congratulations on yours too,
I just
man.
had one 4 months ago.
Yeah,
You know what
I
I'm
seen
saying?
him. I said, look at them eyes. You can't see.
Hey, them be, you know, I probably cry like 15 days out of the 30 of the month, man. Just looking at my kids, because
That's a bit of you. That's you.
and I know I came home with no kids, 7 years ago. So it's like,
Oh, you been out 7 years?
yesterday it was 7 years.
Congratulations.
You know what I'm saying? Came home 7 years yesterday. You know what I'm saying? I was sitting there. I was one of them days. I just seen my daughters that was playing, and I'm kind of hard on myself for being hard on them. I be like, man, you need to stop being so hard on them. Like, they not gonna live your life, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
stop, putting that on them. But it's like, I want them to be strong women. I want them to be, so when they make decisions wrong, like, you know, I disciplined them, but I was just looking at them and I'm just like, man, I'm thinking about all the grace God has had on me. I got some whoopings, you know what I'm saying? I got sat down a few times
Yeah.
and had to go through some stuff,
Yeah.
punishment.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, I came home, I didn't have no kids. And I'm just looking at them like on my anniversary yesterday and I just started crying. My daughter looked at me and was like, you crying? My oldest one. I'm like, yeah. And then she gave me a hug and she told my youngest one, come here, we got to give daddy a hug.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Tears of
He
joy.
crying, you know what I'm saying? I'm just like looking at them and I'm like, man, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I know
Tears
daddy
of
be hard
joy.
on y'all sometimes,
Yeah.
but, you know, I just, you know, I want you guys to be. So I start going into that and it's one of them things, bro. I just like, we bless, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause you know, you shared your 14, 15 years of in and out, you know, and I can relate, but we both know, man, there's many times where we could have been, we could be dead or we can have a life sentence, you know what I'm saying?
Sentence.
Like,
For real.
or
man.
just coming home from a life sentence, you know what I'm saying? Like
Exactly.
some of our loved ones that's just stepping out, you know, they survived it. And it's like, we just now, I wish I was in way of like more of a position to do more for them, but it's just like, those are the things too that help me to understand like what you were sharing about what was worth what, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and how much energy and time and all of that. While it was individuals in there putting their energy and time and they're trying to fight through to get back out here, you know what I'm saying? And so, but now we coming face to face with them, they growing relationships with their kids while we having new kids and growing relationships, you know, with each other, and it's a beautiful thing.
It is.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
it
and
is.
it all means something. Now, like, I can't say everything happens for a reason, but I can say that everything we have today, when we look back on it, like we can make it mean something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, we got these cameras set up. We about to, you know, dive into, you know, CMO. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
like just how, you know, how I know that means a whole lot, you know, to you, but just to see other individuals wearing, you know what I'm saying, something that I believe symbolizes, you know, your not only your survival, but just but who you are, you know what I'm saying, as a person.
Yeah.
And so like, if you don't mind, let's kind of dive into like what, you know, what started stirring up in your mind and in your heart that led you to just be like, man, I'm gonna start a clothing company, a clothing line.
To be honest with you, Timothy, always wanted, and I said this on yes,
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am. I said this. Um, going to the Juneteenth, and remember those MC Hammer pants? See, them was the shit back then. That's what everybody was wearing, different colors, and then the FUBU came, and that's what really, that and the FUBU really had
Cross colors too, you know what I'm saying? You remember cross colors?
a little bit, but
FUBU, yeah, you culturally, that was kind of,
it took
I think for
over
us, yeah.
at growing up at that was what 95, 94, 95.
Yeah, between 94
and I
95.
and I remember like that was something like I remember him making those jerseys with the '05, and I'm like, I could do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that just stuck with me. All like I want to. This is what I want to do. Not I was a kid, not really knowing this is what I really want to do, but as time went on, that's all I thought about, a clothing line. I could start a clothing line, you know. And then as years went on, that's it. That's all that was on my mind. I never thought about doing anything else. I mean, at a point in time, I played sports. I thought I was gonna make it big in some sports, but that dream immediately went out the window. But yeah, I always wanted a clothing line. So after getting out, paroling from Calipat, and just living my life, man, and I discharged my number. I was still on the rough edge. Still, I wasn't. You know what I mean? I didn't have it all figured out. I still don't have it all figured out, but I was mentioning it to certain homies, to certain people, and everybody was like, "You just do it. Just do it. What you waiting on? What you waiting on?" until I just finally, okay, I'm gonna do it. 2020 when I first got started. So it's been 4 years now. But I said, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and pandemic. Everybody got their little money. You know what? Let me just go ahead and start this little business, not knowing how hard and how difficult it's gonna
Right.
be. Just let me do it,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm happy I did because I've been talking about it for a long time. This is something that I dreamed about, having a clothing line, something I've been wanting to do. That's positive for real, and I did it. So and I'm still doing it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's that's where
So
that came
check me
from.
out. Why ultimately those, 3 words, in the order that they in, check me out. You know what I'm saying? Like, why check me out?
Well, that was the thing, far as the name. Um, okay, I want to do the clothing line. What's the name is gonna be? So I had different. I had all type of names. Um,
What's the first name you came up with?
ill one,
Okay.
ill one. I was gonna do that, and then it was gonna be I forgot. I got them written down, but one I know the main one was gonna be ill one. But I happened to go over to my grandma's house with my kids, and she was just happy to see me and asking me what's been going on with you. And I'm just telling her all the great news that's been going on with me, as far as just I'm off parole. I got a job. You see me here with my kids, and this is all I'm doing. You haven't heard nothing bad about me. You ain't heard nothing in the streets. Nobody came back to report nothing. He doing this. He back on this. None of that. And she was like, "Oh, okay, check you out." And that
That's
right,
beautiful though.
honestly, that was it. I was like, "Oh, check me out." You know what I mean? She
Right.
not knowing. I'm sitting there, I'm like,
That's
oh.
beautiful, man. Like, go ahead though.
Yeah, she was like, oh, okay, check you out, okay. That's how how grandmas, okay, check you out. That's what I'm talking about. Well, give me them positive words. Keep up the good work. You doing good, stay out the way, continue, stay on that path. And the whole time that was on my mind, check me out, check me out, check me out. I said, that's gonna be the name of the clothing line. Check me out. CMO. So that's where I came up with the check me out at. She without her knowing, she came up with the name.
Yeah,
You know what I
and
mean?
that's the thing though, for it to come from grandma, because it's like, man, like I can't even begin. You know what I'm saying? Like, your grandma still living?
Yeah, she's still
Yeah, my
here.
grandma passed. So there's some
Okay.
stuff that it's like my grandma used to impart to me post release when I came home. I couldn't really see her because they were in Florida when I came home.
Mm.
I didn't get to see them much. I seen her twice before she passed, and it's like to know, that's all she kept telling me on the phone was like, man, I'm proud of you. You know what I'm saying? Like why you worried about that, Timothy? You know what I'm saying? Like you thinking too much, you too hard on yourself. You doing good, you got a family. Don't worry about us. You making it count. And so it's like to know like, you know, that your grandma, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
she's I made her happy and she was proud and she still is. You know what I mean? To know that okay, he finally and she could see.
mm-hmm,
She could hear it in my voice and she could see that yeah, he didn't made a complete change and he not on that. You know what I mean? Because like I said, the streets was my life.
right.
The gang was my life. So by her seeing me, my kids, and I'm working, and she see the whole change all the way around. And by me knowing I made her proud, you know what I mean, and making her proud, it's like, yeah, you know what I mean,
So
check me out.
how long after she imparted that check me out or check you out, and you was just like, yeah, how long before you actually made your first piece of clothing?
After that,
Mm-hmm.
it was like maybe I would say like 4 or 5 months after that. Yeah, about 4 or 5 months after that, I made my first CMO shirt. It got the big CMO, and under it says "Check Me Out." Yeah, and I dropped them, and a lot of people snatched them up.
How'd you feel like when you got? So how did you do it? Did you like share with us the process that you went through to get your first batch? You know what I'm saying of
Well,
merch.
um, like I said, and that's another thing I'm still learning. I jumped in the head first, Timothy. I didn't know nothing about. Like I said, I wanted this clothing line, and then I found out the basics of how to get a business, so I did that, but not knowing about the business. But once I got, you know, shown, okay, this is where you get your clothes from, and then this is where you can go to get your stuff printed, I was on it. You know what I mean? I can't recall the exact date, but like I said, 4 or 5 months after that, I had got my first shirt. I got first 50 shirts and put all 50 CMO. Check me out on there.
Did you have like a different colors? Did you?
I did the black, I did the white, I did the red, I did the blue, every color.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Not discriminating, no color.
Yeah.
Just check me out don't mean nothing about gangs or anything like that or nothing like that. So yeah, I had every color shirt, every color. Yeah.
How'd you market it? Was it just word of mouth? You just out, you know what I'm saying?
Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram. And I'm not too savvy with that, but that's how I put it out there. You know what I mean? I have a Facebook, but I don't be on the Facebook, and I don't know how to work it like that.
Yeah.
Like I know how to work the Instagram, but that's how I put it out there. And then, you know, word of mouth. People tell them, well, he got a clothing line. What? You know what I mean?
How many different looks have you had since then? So that was what year? When did you actually?
2020.
2020. So you've been in this thing for when? 2020.
March.
Right.
Yeah.
So
this coming up March will be 4 years. It'll be 4 years I've been doing Check Me Out.
That's big. You know, they say for entrepreneurs, man, like year 4, year 5, you know what I'm saying, with consistent profit, even if you're not getting a lot of profit, you're doing something right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, you're going into year 4. How many different looks have you had? How many different?
As far as logo wise, or
not necessarily logo wise, but just as far as like your actual clothing, like, you know what I'm saying, hoodies, shirts, or like fits. Like I done seen individuals with like, you know, shorts and a shirt. You know what I'm saying? Like I think I even seen somebody with like with hoodie, with like a hoodie and sweatpants.
Yeah, so I got the sweatpants. I did the sweatsuits.
Mm-hmm.
I did shirts. I did women's tank top. I did the women's booty shorts, beanies, hats. Yeah, shorts. So beanies, hats, shorts, sweatsuits, and a few women clothes, and a few kids clothes too.
Mm-hmm.
Couple kids shirts. I did. Yeah. So.
What did you what was like your like to date, like your number one
Seller?
Yeah, like seller, or like people just seek out after the most, you know what I'm saying? Like
I would say my my crew neck with the big C Check Me Out sweater, them sold pretty fast, and then right now I got somebody requesting for that one, you know what I mean? So yeah, that right there was a good seller.
You have any plans to do anything out of the ordinary that you've been doing with your clothing line? Like, you know, you mentioned, like, you know, doing the crew necks, the sweats, the sweatsuits, the stuff for the ladies. Are you interested in has anything interested you? Jackets, you know what I'm saying, or like even I don't know, because I'm not in the clothing industry, but I just see so many people doing, or how do you say it, like
well, out the ordinary, I would say I think I'm thinking about doing a marijuana like line, like far as I want to have like a little strain, a Check Me Out OG.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's not clothes. Well, I'm gonna make some shirts. You know what I mean, with the character. You know what I mean, with the Check Me Out OG, with the actual flower.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, that you could purchase. So that's
And the OG is for, as far as the abbreviation OG is for, is it like the original gangster, or OG is?
far as for the marijuana. That's the the name of it. The OG. They have the name. They got we got
Because I know some people only smoke organically grown weed. So like I didn't know if the OG stood for that, or if it was just like original gangster, or if it stood for a specific type of weed. You know what I'm saying?
I'm organically grown. Yeah, OG. It ain't. You know what I mean? It don't stand for no original gangster or nothing like that. That's just the name of the weed that I'm thinking of calling it. Check
Gotcha.
me out, OG. You know what I mean? Everybody know, as far as smoke marijuana, know like OG is like a heavy indica, I would say. Um, and I think that's something I've been thinking about pushing. I'm not for sure, but out the ordinary, when you say out the ordinary, something that's
Yeah.
crossed my mind. And shoes too. I forgot about the shoes. Uh, One of the homies told me, come with some shoes. You know what I mean? Joey, he told me, come with some shoes. You know what I mean? That'd be dope. So I'm thinking about that too. I
Yeah.
don't know yet. This, them is ideas that's on the table.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
How does your business life, father life, and just like life with you, you know what I'm saying, like having to keep yourself focused,
It's
how does all that work
tiring,
out? Yeah.
and it takes a lot of energy. And that's why I was telling the homie, like I don't have time no more to hang out and kick it and do nothing with a gang of niggas. I don't. I got kids that want my attention. I got my lady that want my attention. I got my business that needs my attention. You know what I mean? All that stuff is over with. So I can't kick it no more. Like every now and then. That's every now and then, but I can't kick it no more and hang out no more. I have to attend to this life, because this is what it really is, and this is what it's about, and everything else is irrelevant.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
And how do you feel when you do make them choices of just like,
I feel good about it, man. You know what I mean? I'm a grown ass man. I'm 43 years old. Can't nobody intimidate me, or what's the word I'm looking for? Intimidate, influence me, or anything to do anything I don't want to do. You know what I mean? So all my decisions all come from me now. It ain't because so and so said, or because of what I mean.
right.
Everything, all my decisions come from So
But are you starting to see, at this age in your life, are you starting to see, because I know for me, entrepreneurship has opened up my mind. You know what I'm saying? My perspective about what's possible. You know what I'm saying? Like, I probably got too many irons in the fire right now. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it helps me to feel all the more purposed. Are there things that since you started your business, since you've become a father, since you've led in the capacity that you have, a family, are there other things opening up to you that are kind of like letting you, like pushing you around, as far as like, man, you could do this that you didn't think you could do before, or like, have you might want to, you might want to
try
entertain.
this.
Yeah.
Uh, Honestly,
And it could be in the entrepreneurial world, it could be in the education space, it could be in the, just like, especially like raising kids. I'm just like, man, it's a lot my kids is gonna walk into.
yeah, and that's my main focus is them. You know what I mean? I got 3 boys, so my time is everything, you know. And I can't let them walk in my footsteps at all. You know what I mean? So my mindset and how I get down with them, man, is completely opposite of probably what you think. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's all about for me. It's my kids, man. I don't want them to grow up nowhere near. You know what I mean? I don't even play with them like that, far as gangster type of way. Ain't none of that gang signs. Ain't none of that. As far as rap music and certain, I cut it off. Ain't none of that. You know what I mean? I want them to be square as much as possible.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm serious, bro.
Nah,
You know what I mean?
100%. I
Because
don't either.
I just know how, man. I just know how this life is. It's a wicked world, man.
And it's a spiritual thing, man. A lot of people don't see it. A lot of people do, but I just think it's a different type of wicked going on. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and so I think that part is what we don't necessarily realize are, those who we're responsible for leading. They can grab a hold of anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it could be drastically worse than anything we've ever experienced.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. That's why I'm on my kids the way I am, man. You know what I mean? Tablets, all that. You know what I mean? They have a certain time they can be on the tablet, a certain time they got to get off. You know what I mean? As far as games wise, I want them to play sport games. I don't want you playing this game with all this killing and all. I'm serious, bro.
Right.
I want them to
Because that
be.
stuff plants seeds, man.
It
And at
does.
1 year, there's a year that it all spawns. And it's just what they practice ultimately, man,
Yeah.
they will become. You know?
At least try to become.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I
I'm
mean?
saying?
Yeah. And yeah.
So they all in sports right now?
Just my oldest and my 5-year-old, we had him playing basketball, but he wasn't really feeling it. You know what I mean? But now he said he's ready, so we finna throw him back in there. But my oldest, yeah, he's finna be 9 this year, and he's doing his thing. This is his 3rd year playing basketball.
That's good.
You know what I mean? He plays soccer. You know what I'm saying? So he played baseball. You know what I mean? So
That's the way to have it, man.
that's it. That's what I want him in all the sports. And then, like I said, my other two, I know my 2-year-old, Javion, he's gonna be he's into it. You know what I mean? So when he's able to, when he get the age of the play, oh, he's gonna be yeah, he's gonna be ready.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's gonna be ready with all the sports. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you share with them about the business, about CMO? You know what I'm saying, about anything about?
Yeah, they like they did photo shoots with me. They didn't went to pop ups with me. You know what I mean? They took them out with me. So, Dad, we selling clothes today? You know what I mean? Like, nah, not today. Dad ain't gonna sell 'em. But yeah, they didn't went out with me. They don't understand it. They don't, you know what I
Obviously,
mean?
yeah.
But they know I sell clothes. That's all they know. So they'll ask me every day, Dad, we gonna go sell some clothes? You know what I mean? Well, not today, but we will. So, yeah.
What's the best advice you've ever received from someone? Or I'll say, what's the best encouragement that someone has given you since you got it together? You know what I'm saying? Like, since you turned 30. And if you can't think of any, then we can go before you turn 30.
The best encouragement?
Encouragement or advice. Some people kind of lump them in the same. That's why I said if you can't think of advice.
So the best advice for
Someone just was like, and it could be, it could be towards business. It could be towards being a father. It could be towards being a one woman man? It could be towards anything.
Um, I would just have to say, the best advice I done got was from my mom, hands down. Um, you have lack of discipline. You need to have more discipline for yourself too. That's what she tell me, and I think that stayed with me because that's what I'm here now. Because of my discipline.
And where's that discipline at the most in your life for you? Like, what is it that you wake up every day and that you were just like,
I have to be here for my kids. You know what I mean? So I get up every day, you know, and every day is not a happy day, ha ha, but willing to go to work, happy to go to work to provide for them. You know what I mean? Happy, can't wait to get off. They can hang out and kick it with them. You know what I mean? And be with them. So that's all about my kids for me. That's all. That's what it is, man. Nothing else. It's about them. You know what I mean? For real.
do you have, I know you had mentioned like your mom, she was a godly woman.
Godly woman.
What are some things, what church did you, cause did you go to Shiloh, St.
Yeah,
John?
see, we went, we grew up at Shiloh Church of God in Christ, on the east side of Oceanside. That's when Pastor Buchanan was preaching. So we went there, and that's where my mom and my dad met, at that church too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they met there, and got married. You know, got married. But yeah, we grew up in the church. You know what I mean? Me and my little brother, we grew up in the church. We didn't have no say so. Every Sunday we at church. Saturday we at church. You know what I mean? I was a drummer boy. I sung in the choir. I played the drums. I did all that. You know what I mean? So she had us in the church. You know what I'm saying? So
what's looking back over your life, is it easy for you to see God's hand on your life?
God's hand always been on me. You know what I mean? But now I realize that. At first I ignored it, didn't pay no attention to it, you know, like we all do. Now I realize that he's always been there, and he's always had his hand in my life, always. Because I wouldn't be here today talking to you
Right.
at all.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I thank him for that. Thank you.
What's one way that you communicate to yourself on a daily basis that you can't afford to slip up?
Well, I just flash back into them jail cells. You know, I done did it so long and did it so much. I just flash back to that. Like, you know the results. If you do, you know the results. You know where you're going, and you're gonna sit. You know what I mean? And at this time, if you do something, you really gonna sit. You know what I mean? And I know that I'm with they. You know what I mean? They gonna sit me down. So I don't want to get sit down. I'm not gonna get sit down. So you know, I just like I said, I wake up with a positive attitude every day, regardless if it's, you know, the day not to start off right or not. You know what I mean? Or I had a bad day the other day before. You know what I mean? So I just wake up every day with a positive attitude. Thankful. I say my prayer. I'm blessed. I'm out here on these streets. I'm not on, you know what I mean? I'm not on probation or parole. Been out here on 13 years. Then had 4 kids. You know what I'm saying? Cool, man.
Have you ran into any, what will once be considered opposition? Have you ran into any within these 13 years that had you thinking, I might have to go there before the actual interaction happened?
Yes. Brian.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. He got that truck still.
The same little
He's still
gray truck?
pushing that little truck. That's crazy. But I was like, I don't know if he got it now, but that was like, I was saying about 5-6 years ago. And he seen me, and he I'm like, here we go. But he was like, what's up, Timmy? Just the whole what's up, Timmy? Just
Yeah.
everything just
Disarmed everything.
You know what I mean? Shook hands, so like, what's up, Brian? You know what I mean? We chopped it too, like, you know what I mean? Like, cause he don't,
Right.
you know what I mean? He don't fuck around.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's into God or anything, but he just don't. He's cool. He works.
He got kids. His kids they look grown, but you know what I'm saying, how they look at a certain age, you know what I'm saying? But he seemed focused. I ain't ran into him, I just seen him in some
Pictures and
some
stuff.
pictures, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he looked like he laxed, man. Like he definitely ain't.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah.
He's super cool. He's on the same page we on. He ain't. When we chopped it, he was like, man, it's a gang of little busters. You know what I mean? I'm cool. I'm not finna, and everybody telling down and all type of stuff going on. So a lot of people that was in our generation, our age group, a lot of, then switched over. They
Right.
changed their lives, man. You know what I mean? I mean, you still got a few that's like, you still? Yeah, but a lot of, have changed their lives. You know what I mean? I mean, that's the best thing.
That is, man, because it's like I said, man, it's not the same
At all.
And there's a completely different, I think it's just a completely different set of demons out here, man. You know what I'm saying? And they pushing a different type of line.
Yeah.
And they can't push it through us. You know what I'm saying? Because we didn't sat down. And then when we do stand up, it's to do like what you do with your kids, what I do with my kids, what you do with your business, what I do with my business. And, we lock arms to try to push like these shirts, courtesy of Senior Mo, from negative to positive, new beginnings. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
That's what we own.
That's what we own. That's for real. That's what it's about. From negative to positive, new beginnings. I mean, how many times how long and how you're gonna continue to do the same negative thing and think you're gonna get different results? You're not.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, my advice to anyone that will be watching this or that will see this, if you own that negative, just change your life. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing wrong with changing your life. I think you'll be respected more by changing your life than still trying to be this big time gang banger or whatever you call yourself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's about changing life, taking care of your kids, man, and just living happy ever after. We're not here for a long time.
Right.
We're here to have a good time, but we're not here for a long time, man. Any day. You know what I mean? I'm 43. How old are you?
I'm 43. I turned 43 in August.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of people didn't pass that's younger than us that we know. We still here. It's a blessing.
It is.
It is.
Well, look, man, I ain't. Before I do let you go, man, I want to apologize to you in person. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say get into no details, but you already know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know you didn't forgave me a while ago. I think about it, especially when you start talking about loyalty. And that's how I know like things have shifted. And when the game started changing, the way I went out my last time, it just, everything was different. You know what I'm saying? But I think you and I were starting to get closer than we ever had been before.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And, I kind of like, feel like I betrayed your trust. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I know you're not concerned with it, but I think when on your end of it, even though we've seen each other since I've been home a few times, and we are cordial and we do communicate as individuals who are positively pushing a new beginning, I just think like opportunities like this are necessary because, we are who we are, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you deserve better than that, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know how to move better than that, you know what I'm saying? In that moment, I made a silly mistake.
I think it just, that goes back to the guys that we ran with and how we was raised and the things that we seen others do. We did it. all a part of how we are, what we was doing, what we was about. We thought it was all, you know what I mean? And then as, like I said, we got older, man. We got older and we realized, like, damn, a lot of our decisions that we made was not the best, but there's nothing we can do but just move on. You know what I mean? Don't let that, uh, don't let that go. You know what I'm saying? I know you said you let that go. It's
Right.
over with. You know what I mean? I've been forgave for that. That's nothing. You know what I mean? And you didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it wasn't even about. We'll talk about it off
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
You know what I
No,
mean?
no. But
We'll chop it
my
up.
main reason for wanting to mention that though is because we come from, like you shared, man, a lot of homies turning on homies,
Yeah.
a lot of homies doing homies wrong,
Yeah.
a lot of homies not wanting to forgive homies.
Yeah.
But we got a lot of men now that have transitioned from the whole homie perspective and still see, we still see like the homie reality because of what we come from, but we have like the CMO realities, the quality touch cleaner realities, the epic hope rate realities, the carpe diem realities, the I know a guy realities, like all of these businesses within our survival. And you know people, you know it's hard for us to transition from what we've been through to where we're trying to go. And I think, not to say that other people, they don't even got to understand what I'm apologizing for, but I just think we're responsible for putting us, our generation. We put a lot of bad vibe out there. We tore a lot down, and I think that this is a step in the direction of building up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think me just putting it out there, it's necessary because it's just another brick. You know what I'm saying? To build on the foundation that we're trying to build.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and you ain't got to be here. I ain't got to be here.
Yeah.
But we here because we want. You know what I'm saying? What we want for each other.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
we
saying?
wanted
Like,
to be here and what we want for each other,
Mhm.
and that's what it's about. You know
Right.
what I mean? Moving forward, like I said, we can't dwell on the past. We gotta let that go.
Right.
Everything.
Everything,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? It's stuff that I think about too. Not just other things.
Yeah,
like,
me
like,
too.
you have to let it go.
Right.
It's nothing you can do about it. You know what I mean? So
And it stunts our growth, and that's the main thing, man.
it does,
Yeah.
because it's still hindering and heavy on your mind, and it shouldn't be. You know what I mean? It's over.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yep. And so somebody said something yesterday. Yesterday's progress is today's leverage. You know what I'm saying? The fact that we made it through. The fact that we made it through yesterday, we woke up today, we was able to make it today. What we actually are creating today can be leveraged tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, with that said, man, what's the I wanted to. Well, you can actually share it. You know what I'm saying in your outro, but I was interested to hear. The CMO have a tagline.
No, that was the tagline for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna change it. I haven't got one yet, but from starting off, it was from negative to positive.
Mm-hmm.
New beginnings. That's what checked me out. It was, you know what I mean? Because that's what it really is
That's
about.
the root of it.
It is.
Right,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? People don't they don't understand. Like, check me out.
Right. That's the reason why I really wanted to, because I'm gonna be honest. Like, I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't. When I came home, I was just trying to stay away from everybody and everything. And I didn't want to be.
As you should.
I didn't want to be like. I didn't want to be looked at as like, because I was saying what I was saying, as far as like, this is why I'm staying away.
Yeah.
People didn't get it, but some people did.
Yeah.
But I also didn't necessarily know how to endorse or promote things that I didn't necessarily know the origin of. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't know. I just didn't know. So I was just like,
And I get it, and that's what made me. Let me bring him this shirt.
yeah. You know what I'm
I
saying?
see what he on.
Yeah.
It's a perfect shirt for
Perfect.
you. It's
You know,
perfect.
and it helps me. It helps my understanding as to why sometimes, because sometimes, man, we just be needing all the details. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you
And
wanna know.
sometimes you just, this helped me to understand and appreciate how so much alike we is, in especially on this context
Yeah.
of like, you know, just the whole like, it's all new to us. You know what I'm saying? Like in its new beginnings, but like the path that we had to travel to even appreciate a new beginning. You know what I'm saying? And how much we fighting for, you raising your family, me raising my family, how many others is raising their families.
Yeah.
And we all want to do it the right way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
And we
I
on the
think,
same page.
you know, quotes like this and origins like this, they mean more than we could ever try to articulate. You know what I'm saying? But I think you did a great job of helping us to understand, you know, Will, you know what I'm saying, a lot more than some people probably really ever knew. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm excited to see, you know what I'm saying, what you do in the future, you know, with not only this but with your boys, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
and with your life, man. You know,
Appreciate
I'm proud of
that,
you.
man.
You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
man.
I appreciate the support. You know what I'm saying? And you,
For sure.
you know, staying connected and being available for, you know, the more, and not just positive things, but just the momentum that I think you can identify.
Yeah.
You know, we on. You know, because we had a crazy momentum
We
at
did.
one point.
We did.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's shifted now. You know,
Yeah.
the pendulum is shifted us to a whole nother side of things. You know,
Which is a good thing.
it's the best thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you don't mind, man, you can let the subscribers, the viewers know where they could where they can find check me out.
Yeah. You can I have a page. I have CMO clothing. It's my Instagram page is underscore WWCMO. Um, and then I have a Shopify store. You could click on the link in my bio. It takes you straight to the store. You can find merch on there. You know what I mean? Underscore WWCMO is my Instagram page. And then, like I said, you hit the link at worldwidecheckmeout.com. And that's my page, my Shopify store. If you want to, purchase some merch or anything like that, hit the store, hit the link. Or you could DM me too.
So it's the Instagram they can DM you is the
Yeah, the Instagram that you can DM me at is underscore WWCMO.
got you.
You know what I mean? And then if you just want to go straight to the store, it's www.checkmeout.com.
Got you. All right, man. Yeah, once again, man, appreciate you coming through, sharing your personals with us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? From negative to positive, you know what I'm saying? New beginnings.
New beginnings.